KTTC. Live from KTTC News Center at 6, the area's most watched evening news starts now.
He died in the Vietnam War, and for years his name was on panel 15, line 126 of the Vietnam Wall in Washington. Well, tonight the remains of Benjamin Franklin Danielson are finally at home in Kenya. That's our top story tonight. Thank you for joining us. It was an emotional morning for a local family.
Decades after Major Ben Danielson took off to fly during what some consider a controversial war, the American soldier is finally home. News Center's Katie Brandt is live in our studio and has more on the long-awaited return of Major Danielson's remains. Katie.
Well, Betsy, it was 30 years after Major Danielson's plane was shot down that friends, family, and veterans eagerly awaited his homecoming at the Twin Cities airport, ready to welcome home the fallen soldier.
Quite honestly, I've never expected that we would have a resolution of the case.
That case opened decades ago. It was in 1969 when the plane Major Ben Danielson of Kenya was flying was hit by enemy fire over Laos.
This guy was flying with my dad in the aircraft when it got shot down. 26-year-old Danielson was never found despite extensive military searches and was declared missing in action later that same year. His remains were discovered 4 years ago in 2003, but it was only after DNA testing that the Danielson family finally received some closure to this decades-long journey. You know, it's not easy, but it's good. You know, it's been a long process.
After we've all come back from Vietnam, all us guys, we're brothers. So we're just welcoming another brother home and giving him the honor and dignity and the heroism that you know, he deserves.
At the Twin Cities International Airport, Danielson's widow, Mary, and their son, Brian, flew in from Hawaii with Major Danielson's remains.
Very quiet, very hushed and subdued, like it should be.
And were met by a 12-member color guard before returning home to Kenyan.
Being a Vietnam vet, it helps bring closure to that war, too.
And now that Major Ben Danielson's remains are back home in Kenya, a funeral is planned for June 15th at 3:30 p.m. at Holden Lutheran Church, and that's in rural Kenya. Reporting live in the studio, I'm Katie Brandt.
All right, Katie, thank you. A Rochester teenager who doesn't want to undergo a series of rabies shots is really hoping you can help him out tonight. The 16-year-old boy says a black and tan dog bit him around 9 o'clock last night near Parkside Mobile Home Park. He was taken to Olmsted Medical Center where he was treated. Now, if the dog is not found and checked for rabies by tomorrow afternoon, the boy will have to undergo a series of 5 rabies shots. Right now, he is on antibiotics and taking prescription medication.
Police are looking for 3 men who robbed a Winona man at gunpoint in his own home. The 69-year-old victim told police that he let 3 of the people in to use the phone around 9:30 last night. But then things quickly turned violent, and according to the victim, the men showed their gun, bound him to a chair, and then robbed him. The victim was treated at a hospital and released this morning. Investigators say the suspects are in their 20s and 30s, and if you have information, you're asked to call the Winona Police Department at 457-6302. It's a bittersweet day for family members as search and rescue pulled 2 more bodies from the Mississippi.
That brings the number now of victims recovered to 3. News Center's Jenna Gordon has been following the story and joins us in our newsroom with the latest on today's developments. Jenna?
Betsy, a long day for search and rescue crews as they find 2 more bodies. Family members say they hope the last victim will be recovered soon so they, along with all those involved in the search, can find closure. Investigators say the family of 4 were fishing on the Mississippi near a lock and dam by Dressbach on Saturday when their boat capsized. Authorities recovered 34-year-old Cha Yang's body around 5:30 this morning and his fiance's daughter a few hours later, about 2 miles south of the dam. Searchers found the girl's mom see her underneath the Interstate 90 bridge yesterday morning, and they're still looking for the 4th victim, her son.
We're all happy that this is happening, even though it isn't a good thing. But the family, the sheriffs and the support staff and the rescue people are feeling a closure here where we can close the case and the families will be happy to have the results.
Officials believe the body surfaced after the dam's gates were raised yesterday and say the current carried the victim south. Crews will continue to look where Yang's body was found, hoping they can find the little boy. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Jenna Gordon.
Thank you, Jenna. Senators from both sides of the aisle meet in the middle to hammer out an immigration deal.
But will their colleagues go for it? The bipartisan group announced the compromise on Capitol Hill today after weeks of negotiations. The bill would help millions of illegal immigrants already in the United States become legal citizens, while also strengthening border protection. The lawmakers acknowledge their deal is not perfect, calling it a good first step, though. They emphasize that this is not amnesty.
Politics is the art of the possible, and the agreement we just reached is the best possible chance we will have in years to secure our borders, bring millions of people out of the shadows and into the sunshine of America.
Meantime, the number of minorities in the United States topped the 100 million mark last year. Latinos accounted for 15% of the overall population, nearly half of the minority population.
And tonight at 10, we'll have more local reaction to the national plan and how it could affect immigrants living in this area. Well, if the sun and the higher temps aren't a sure sign of spring, then the next story really should be.
Fans of fresh fruits and vegetables welcome with open arms the return of Austin's Farmers Market. That's today. Dozens turned out to pick up their favorite breads, jellies, rhubarb. The market runs through October in downtown Austin. For specific times and dates, log on to our website, kttc.com, for details. I also know our own Farmers Market in Rochester is open on Saturday mornings down by the Government Center. So
that is already happening.
It is.
It's a great thing. Hey, how's the weather out there tonight? Gorgeous,
Beautiful.
Gorgeous day.
I came out early just so I could sit and enjoy it. The wind is light, the sky is bright, temperatures are in the mid-60s. It has been a perfect afternoon to evening outside, very comfortable. Wanted to highlight for you our vegetable garden. We're working on some tomatoes and some peppers, and hopefully by the middle of the summer we have a little bit of salsa to share here. So a nice day to be out in the garden. Take a look at what we have here. Garden photos. We want to send those in here soon. Send them to weather@kttc.com. You get a gift certificate to Sargent's, and we air your photos. We'll start that here the 28th, Monday the 28th. Ken Quatrin will be taking care of the garden photos again this year, as he always does. Highs today, we hit 68 in Rochester, 70 in Dodge Center, and mid-60s elsewhere along extreme southern Minnesota and North Iowa. Current readings are still in the upper 60s to low 70s here in Rochester, and a little bit cooler in Austin to Alva-Lee still. 61 by 7 o'clock and 52 by 10. So sunshine this evening, clear sky tonight, no patchy frost by tomorrow morning. We saw a few spots getting some frostbite this morning, but highs today 68 in Rochester. The normal is 68, so a typical day, a little cooler than normal this morning though, and as we go into the weekend we're looking at a warm-up and the possibility of a little much needed rain. Your forecast is coming up later in the news.
Thank you, Randy. A friendly reminder to motorists to please slow down and expect some delays on Highway 14. Beginning today, traffic will be reduced to a single lane on Highway 14 East from Rochester to Iota. Construction crews will continue working through Friday and resume work again Monday, the 21st. And for more construction and travel information, you can go online to 511mn.org or you can call 511. Still ahead tonight at 6, financial experts are growing concerned with the way Americans are saving.
there are some startling numbers not seen since the days of the Depression. But first tonight.
Coming up, I'm Jennifer Hoff. With the price of gas going up, I'll tell you how the demand for ethanol is fueling a rise in corn prices, but also creating a new method for its production. That could mean more money in some farmers' pockets.
The KTTC News Center continues with Tom Overley and Betsy Singer. Your precision forecast with Randy Brock and sports with Pat Lund. The people you know, the news you trust.
More and more people are spending money that they simply do not have.
The nation's savings level has fallen into negative numbers. Local banking officials have taken notice as well. According to the Associated Press, Americans are not only spending all the money they make, but they're also digging into what savings they do have. According to the AP's report, some are instead relying on the value of their investments.
We've kind of become a culture where immediate gratification is what we expect. And so if you want something, you buy it right now, and you may buy it on credit when your income hasn't necessarily gone up sufficiently to support that kind of spending.
Well, the last time our savings rate reached negative digits was during the days of the Depression back in 1932. Well, having a savings account right now could certainly help you with your Memorial weekend travel plans.
Not the truth, especially with the way our gas prices are going up and up. But according to AAA, More than 38 million Americans are expected to travel 50 miles or more. That's up nearly 2% from last year. But with fuel prices over $3 a gallon, AAA says drivers will take shorter trips. So we want to know if the price at the pumps will be affecting your Memorial Weekend travel plans. You can vote by going onto our website, kttc.com. Gas prices aren't the only things going up.
No, the price of a bushel of corn is also up nearly $2 now from last year, and it might continue to rise with the demand for ethanol. The main ingredient for ethanol being corn. News Center's Jennifer Hoff has more on how farmers may soon grow other types of crops to make a new kind of ethanol. Jennifer?
Thanks, Betsy. That's right. Corn and, well, all of the crops that farmers grow and those farmers do play a key role in helping the United States become less dependent on foreign oil. Now, that's also led to a mixed blessing of these higher corn prices. Now, among others, we did talk to dairy farmer John Larson.
This is really high. We haven't really seen prices like this since 1996.
John Larson said he's been a farmer all his life, and the rising corn prices make it tough to afford feed for some of his animals. Larson used to keep about 250 pigs. Now he has 21.
The price of corn went up. I lost my enthusiasm to raise pigs.
From the farm to the ethanol plants, corn is in such high demand to create this fuel that a bushel is running $2 more than last year. To help lower those prices, Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar is encouraging farmers like Larson to start growing other crops that can also be used to make ethanol.
Maybe switch grasses, maybe even alfalfa.
In the bill, Klobuchar and Iowa Senator Tom Harkin want to help pay for the switch from growing corn to more of those grasses.
We may be able to produce 2 or 3 times the gallons per acre that we can get from corn, so it would be an excellent win-win situation, not only for farmers, but it would be great for the country, so we can become the energy source of the Midwest instead of being worried about the Middle East.
Using energy from renewable resources in the U.S. also reduces our dependence on foreign energy. Producing grass types is cheaper than growing corn. It also protects against soil erosion and is an advantage for some animals.
All kinds of wildlife will benefit from this because there'll be a constant cover over the ground, and there won't be there'll be some extra food for them in the wintertime.
Now, demand for that corn is so high that this spring Minnesota farmers planted more corn than at any time since World War II. Much of that corn is going to produce ethanol instead of feeding animals and consumers. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Jennifer Hoff.
Interesting, Jennifer. Thank you. Still ahead tonight, with the way things are going for the Twins, you know, a win could probably mean about 10 times as much.
That Lund will tell us if they could pull it off of a victory against the Tribe later on in sports.
Gorgeous weather today and more sunshine is in the forecast, although there is a chance of much needed rainfall. I'll let you know when we have a good chance of rain. Your forecast is right after the break.